And welcome everybody to the kickoff episode of Slapcast, the Slap Happy Chaps podcast. Coming at you from Burlington, Vermont, I am SchwarzTKD.
And I'm LegendByDesign.
Two of the four founding members of your friend Slap Happy Chaps.
Indeed.
Hashtag self-promotion. So that's the only time I'll use it, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
So we just finished watching the new Netflix show Luke Cage this weekend.
Indeed.
And we're both pretty much blown the fuck away.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, that.
I'm sorry, I'm still just checking Twitter here.
Okay, because I was going to say, if you're Pokemon going in my apartment, I'll take your phone away.
No, we got that.
Alright. Oh, no. Oh.
Fuck the Judges winner.
Who did?
I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll worry about that later. Yeah, that's not important right now.
Okay. That's just something I obsessively check Twitter.
Alright, so...
And always.
Other YouTubers' Twitters notwithstanding, let's talk about Luke Cage. How fucking awesome was that?
I definitely had a hard time not watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I normally like to space stuff out. I'll watch like an episode or two a day with like some nice gaps in between for video games and naps and everything.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Fucking hard pressed not to just power through. Power. Because it's Power Man.
I get it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just not giving you any credit.
You had to give me something.
No,
anyway,
I'm not giving you.
No, I had a hard time not just binging this fucking show.
Yeah, it's true. It normally takes you months to finish one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on the show. Like Jessica Jones hit. Excuse me. Jessica Jones hit a lot of personal notes for me. So, especially the first half of that, I could watch one episode at a time before I just needed to take a break.
Right.
Towards the end, I binged like the last 3 to 4 episodes of Jessica Jones because at that point I was used to the tone of the show and just wanted to fucking push through it and see what went down.
Yeah.
This one, from the first episode of Luke Cage, I was just like, how do I turn you off?
Yeah, that's a really great question to ask.
Yeah. I mean, I think what hooked me so almost immediately, aside from, you know what? First of all, let's just talk about the title card.
The opening credit sequence?
Yeah. The opening credits, opening title, because Daredevil had like the bleeding cowl, Jessica Jones had the shadows and the noir feel to it, Luke Cage had the jazzy sound. All three had similarities, which makes sense because they're all going to tie into the Defenders anyway. But they all had their own unique spin on it. I really love like that jazzy sound that they had to it.
Langston Hughes, babe.
Yeah. So, and it makes sense too because the entire show for Luke Cage was about black culture.
Yeah.
And the opening. Oh, okay. By the way, spoilers. We finished watching the whole thing. We're gonna talk about every aspect of it.
Well, let's just put that. We'll put it in the description of it. So.
We will be, yeah. You're going to hear how the whole season went.
Yeah.
But like right in the first episode, you've got the little down below the street level barber shop. You've got members of the community in there. You know, the older guy. What was his name? Character's name?
Pop?
Not Pop. The other one. The one with the beard.
Oh, Bobby Fish.
Bobby. Yeah. So you had
playing chess.
Yeah. So you had him playing chess. You had Pops, a former gang member who's now a community leader. You had them talking about different sports, about different athletes and other black celebrities. You had just the whole fact that it was set in a barbershop anyway. Like, as soon as I saw that, it started ringing of cliches and everything. But then when they actually got inside and you saw the characters, it didn't feel cliched. It felt honest.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. The tone of the show from the get-go felt pretty honest to me.
Yeah.
Well, just how Luke Cage presented himself, right? Just he himself just wanted to be left the fuck alone. And this takes place after the events of Jessica Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And
they mentioned that. Yeah, they mentioned your rebound chick put a shotgun to your head.
Yeah,
I
thought that was pretty funny.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, Pop did not pull any punches when it came to Luke, man.
God, that character, we should have had so much more with him. What a bummer, you know? Yeah. Made perfect sense for the narrative. that it happened the way it did. Just such a bummer that...
It happened as soon as it did.
Yeah. Second episode, right?
Third
Episode?
Third episode, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Within the first few, it was... He gets gunned down in his own shop, which is supposed to be neutral territory for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that was honestly... That, as much as anything, was the inciting incident for all the conflict of the show.
Yeah. I mean, that whole... Just the whole shootout scene at the barbershop.
Yeah.
It was Wow. The barbershop was respected as Switzerland by all sides.
Yeah.
And it showed.
Mm-hmm.
It showed by the way Cottonmouth treated his people afterward.
Yeah.
It showed
that
by
was
just
great.
the community people who wanted to be left alone, who
Yeah.
wanted to feel safe for an hour, wanted to play video games in the barbershop, have this, big muscle-bound bald dude sweeping up hair behind you.
Cleaning the windows.
If that doesn't make you feel safe, I don't know what does.
Yeah. Well, and then also just the fact that even before Luke showed up, because it was established Luke was only working in the barbershop for 5 months, even before that, it was still neutral territory. Everyone in the neighborhood knew it was, and it had nothing to do with Luke being there. It had everything to do with the fact that it was Pops's barbershop.
Yeah.
Former gang leader of the neighborhood, established, I'm out of the game. I want something so that so that people can, the kids coming up through the neighborhood, have an option other than hitting the streets.
Yeah, and also so they can just have a place to go and feel safe.
Right. And the fact that a member of Cottonmouth's gang went and violated that, when Cottonmouth threw him off the roof,
yeah,
that's what endeared me to him as a character. Like, at first, I really didn't like Cottonmouth as a character.
Yeah. Well, they set him up so that you weren't... They initially set him up so that you wouldn't like him at all.
Right, because he's a gang leader, he's crooked, he's supplying dirty money to his politician cousin, and she's not even likable from the beginning.
Yeah.
We'll get to her in a minute.
Yeah.
But when Cottonmouth threw the guy who shot up the barbershop and killed Pops on top of it, and was proud of that fact.
Yeah.
Pop...
Cottonmouth, I think his name was, either way.
Yeah.
Regardless of what his name is, yeah.
When they were younger, Cottonmouth rolled with Pops. So, it was just that loss. And then, killing that guy was just like, okay, I'm not supposed to like your character. But now it's like I'm not supposed to like you, but I like your character now.
At the very least, I think it's supposed to make the audience feel as though there's more to him than just being a crooked gang leader.
Yeah.
Like there's a certain amount of respect. There's a certain code of the street that everyone obeys, regardless of what side they're on.
Yeah, and it adds some depth to his character, and then the payoff to that is later on when we get the flashback to when he was being raised up. And learning,
by Mama Mabel.
Right, and learning the ropes and everything when he just wanted to play piano. So then he was naturally talented at that.
Yeah.
So it set the stage for that additional depth later on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Wow, that I didn't leave a whole lot of room now. What am I going to think of next?
Well, something that struck me was not just the honesty of the writing, but of the acting as well.
Yeah.
Like since we were just talking about him, look at Cottonmouth. When you first see him, it almost looks like it's a wide-angle lens because the camera's right in his face. He's got a very wide features, and he kept, and this was definitely part of the actor doing this. Obviously, he would constantly lick his lips and just slide his tongue between his teeth, and all of those were things that were designed to make you notice, quite frankly, some stereotypes, to really highlight what kind of character he is, that he's the gang leader, that he's not the good guy.
You think it was the character or the actor that put the Biggie Smalls painting in his office?
That is a good question. Yeah.
I think it was a very tasteful painting of pre-97.
Yeah, the one
Biggie Smalls.
The painting bigger than a door.
With Biggie Smalls with the crown on.
The crooked crown, and then constantly putting himself in front of it.
Yeah.
And then at one point when he walked towards the camera so that it was said he was completely blocking Biggie's face. Like, those are all very obvious staging decisions, but it worked.
Yeah.
It worked so...
It felt very natural.
I just realized, actually, something. The nightclub, Harlem's Paradise, that Cottonmouth owned, that used to belong to Mama Mabel, the former leader of the whole Harlem neighborhood gangs.
Yeah.
When he is in there, the lighting is never normal lighting. It's always tinted.
Mama Mabel cracked me up.
Mama Mabel's hilarious. I think it was always, the lighting was always tinted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even when the club wasn't open, if he was in his office.
Huh.
I don't know what they were going for with that, but it was definitely noticeable. It wasn't until after Mariah. After Mariah killed him, that you saw normal lighting in there.
With a mic stand.
Beat his face in.
Oof, that, after throwing him out a 2-story window?
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Okay, so since we're talking about both of them, so I mean, he was the obvious villain that they were setting up. You know, he's a gang leader, he's choking out the neighborhood.
Running guns,
running drugs. No, was he running drugs? Yeah, he was running drugs. He was pushing drugs on the street corners because he was pissed that all street work was stopping because of Luke.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, and the whole time that he's talking about answering to Diamondback, they're putting Diamondback up as a big whole leader of a whole other organization.
Well, he was the connection. He was the connection to the guns.
Right, but I didn't, when it turned out to be just one guy, that was interesting. But, so you had Cottonmouth, who was the obvious stereotypical gang leader. Then you had Mariah, his cousin, who was grew up in the same situation, but cleaned herself up and got into politics.
Yeah, became a lawyer, became a city councilwoman.
Yep. And all of it with, help from his money. His dirty...
That was Mama Mabel's money.
Well, and then later his.
Well, yeah, that was to fund her, whatever...
projects, yeah. She was working on her affordable housing initiatives and everything.
Yeah, Crispus Attucks.
Yeah. The whole time you see her in the early episodes, after she meets a bunch of local kids at an event, she gets hand sanitizer. And just, once the cameras aren't on her face, she just has this expression.
Yeah, a very, very exhausting...
Very put upon, I can't believe I have to talk to these people. She didn't want to be, as much as she was talking up the neighborhood, she didn't want to be part of it.
Yeah. She didn't want to be part of the part of the community.
She didn't want to be part of
the idea.
Exactly.
More than the actual neighborhood and the people inhabiting it.
I was about to say that. She didn't want the neighborhood, she wanted the ideal.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And she wasn't willing to do the work.
No, she was doing half of it. She was just doing the in front of the camera work, and she had she also probably had a lot of stress because she was covering up for her cousin's fuck-ups.
Yeah. It was interesting because we'll get to Luke in a bit, but the thing about him, so the whole show is about his rise and origin to become a hero and embrace what that meant for him with his abilities. It was just as much about her becoming a villain. Early in the season, all she says, she's just I don't want the details whenever they're discussing illegal activity.
Yeah, I don't want the details, I just want results.
Right. But she stayed in the room.
Yeah.
More often than not. And then when she kills Cottonmouth, she doesn't get the option anymore. She has to take on more and more of those roles. She tries to pass the business off to other gangs, like the Hispanics and the Jamaicans.
And the Haitians, yeah.
And the Haitians. And Diamondback comes in and kills all of them.
Yeah.
So she has to become... And then at the end of it, she ends up... At the end of the show, she basically ends up as the gang leader for Harlem, for the African American gangs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and call it Black Gang, since we're discussing it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
For her sect of the gangs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, totally.
It felt a lot I think that actually helped it feel like an origin story. Because Diamondback had a very personal reason to hate Luke. Mariah, it was circumstances. As much as circumstances brought Luke to embrace his role as a hero, she had to embrace her history, growing up under Mama Mabel, and all the illegal shit she had done behind the scenes over the years. She had to embrace her heritage.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's some dark irony, because she spent the whole show talking about how Harlem is about heritage and how that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I just realized that.
Yeah, she definitely had to face some of her own demons, that's for goddamn sure.
Yeah, I mean, completely understandable why she killed Cottonmouth. That was the literal definition of a crime of passion.
Yeah.
And if she hadn't tried to cover it up, and if all the other circumstances of the show had not been happening, she probably would have been acquitted. Is that the word?
Acquitted.
She probably would have been acquitted. I mean, with those circumstances, for reference, there was a flashback in that same episode showing Cottonmouth being raised to be an enforcer, a gang leader, and in that same episode, it was revealed that Mama Mabel, her husband, sexually abused Mariah. And so then Cottonmouth started pushing that button, claiming that she wanted.
That wasn't her husband. That was her brother's.
Oh, her brother.
That was that was her husband's brother.
Okay.
That was her husband's brother. Yeah,
okay.
That's why they called him Uncle Pete.
Ah, okay. Regardless of who it was, this was the first guy that Cottonmouth killed because he was trying to. Mama Mabel had Cottonmouth kill this guy because he was going behind her back on some deals with drugs and other gangs, and then it was on top of that he was sexually abusing Mariah. And honestly, that wasn't even why Mama Mabel wanted to kill him.
Yeah,
she knew all about that. I'm sure, just didn't deem it worth dealing with. Not to that level, anyway. Not to the level of actually killing him.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That's really hard to judge, man.
Because we only had the one episode with the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Not even a full episode, just flashbacks.
We would need more context for that, I think, if we were to draw any conclusions about that.
Right. So then anyway, the situation is Cottonmouth starts pushing the button saying that Mariah wanted that to happen, that abuse to happen, and she lost her shit. How often does that happen in real life that someone gets provoked like that and for initially an accident pushing him out the window of the club, but then going downstairs and finishing the job, that's a crime of passion.
Yeah.
But still not premeditated, so she probably would have been acquitted. It's very likely, but then tried to cover it up, tried to pin it on Luke. It just snowballed.
Yeah.
As much as the situation kept snowballing, that Luke had to keep embracing his role as a hero, the situation for Mariah kept snowballing to bring her further down.
Right.
Yeah. I just found that,
and as Cottonmouth was being torn down, she was getting built up.
Yeah.
Intentionally or otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a nice contrast.
Yeah, it's an excellent contrast.
Yeah, very obviously a deliberate one.
It's a fucking TV show, man.
Well, I mean, because sometimes you can find these. What I mean is, sometimes you can find these contrasts, that weren't intentional, where two different character arcs reflect each other.
Okay.
This one was obviously very much a part of the plot. I mean, it's where a lot of the conflict came from, especially in the last half of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it sets the stage nicely for season 2. Whereas,
assuming there's nothing's been announced.
But I mean, I'll be amazed if it does. Maybe it'll probably be after the Defenders.
It'll most likely be after the Defenders.
But even so, it's. I'll be amazed if they don't.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, especially because by then enough time will have passed. She'll be more established as a gang leader.
Yeah, right. No, that makes sense.
Because in between, we're going to have Iron Fist, the Defenders,
Jessica Jones season 2,
Punisher, and then possibly even another Daredevil season before we get back around to Luke.
Yeah, I don't know if that's been announced yet. If there's going to be a season 3 of Daredevil,
right?
But,
or if it is when it'll be. Maybe they're going to get all the others to season 2 first. I mean, I remember the very original plan that they announced. It was going to be Daredevil, Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, then Defenders.
Yeah.
Now that's already changed. We've already gotten Daredevil season 2, and I think we're going to get Punisher as well before Defenders. Or is that going to be after Defenders?
I think he might be in Defenders and then get a season 2. But
okay.
Don't quote me on that. I haven't checked into that yet.
Right. I'm loving these shows more than I am the movies, quite honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah, more than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well.
I never really got into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I've watched all 3 seasons. It's good, but it's really only good in the sense that it fleshes out the world for the movies. And even then, it doesn't always do so in a great way. Like the whole thing with Age of Ultron and the Sokovia Accords, they work that into the tail end of Season 3 of Agents, but it's kind of like just mentioned as it's really almost just mentioned as a pin in the bulletin board of this is where we are in the timeline. Because it never amounts to anything.
Right.
The one that amounted to the most was how in Winter Soldier they revealed Hydra, and that was a huge part of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show for a while.
Right.
But then they used Hydra so much they just wore it into the ground. Spoilers, it turns out the whole reason for Hydra was because there was an Inhuman, the first Inhuman that the Kree created, and the original faction of Hydra was trying to bring him back from exile on another planet.
Okay.
And the reason that they use the whole logo that they do is because his true form is like, looks like a squid. Yeah. Looks like a human face with squid tentacles instead of hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It just felt so lame. Like, Hydra, at their most...
Back to Luke Cage.
Yeah, okay, back to Luke Cage. All right.
It's the thing I actually do know about.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, too. So, you have the movies, which are the big spotlights events, S.H.I.E.L.D. falling, Ultron, the first Avengers movie where they come together, everything. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of just fleshes out that framework a little bit. But what I like about these Netflix shows is that they're a magnifying glass instead of a spotlight. So it's like all of Daredevil could take place on one street practically. It takes place in one borough. In Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, yeah.
Jessica Jones takes place primarily there as well, I believe.
Yeah, that takes place in Hell's Kitchen as well.
You got Luke Cage over in Harlem. Mm-hmm. So they're very focused. They are literally the street level events. And it's interesting to see all the side characters, all the normal people talk about the incident of, for the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, the Battle of New York, right?
Right. Talking about, when they talk about Sokovia, it feels more real, than when it got discussed in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
And that's the thing, especially in Luke Cage, it just feels the whole show just feels so honest.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels honest.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I'm trying to think. Since we talked about Mariah, and since we're still on now, let's talk about Diamondback.
Yes.
My bad.
Good catch.
Willis Stryker.
Yeah.
What is he talking about?
Holy shit, he was fun.
He definitely was one you love to hate.
Yeah, the actor was so over the top at first.
Oh yeah,
that
was awesome.
Right, at first I was just like, "What are you on, son?" But
give me some of that shit,
right?
Man.
When you
get me through work, dog.
Yeah, when you see him,
I like my job. I should just preface that in case anybody.
No one knows your real name.
Still, though.
All right. Yeah, he was so over the top, but it worked. It worked so fucking well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
When he did the fake gun distraction bit,
yeah,
and then shot from the hip. That was when I was just
that was his... I laughed.
I did too, because it was so
hard.
It was so well choreographed, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm good."
And it was really well shot too.
Yeah, yeah.
It gave the illusion that he's not actually going to shoot anyone. Bang. Yeah. And then it goes...
I was thinking there was a sniper out the window. No, it's just him with a pistol in his hip because he was using misdirection. Oh, good fucking shit. Yeah. Very well done.
And the Judas?
Yeah, the Judas bullets.
Judas bullets.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet baby Jeebus.
Well, and then the whole thing is, like...
that was insane.
Yeah. So, when Diamondback first mentions that his father's a preacher, and Luke had already mentioned that a few episodes previous, I was like, are you two brothers? Turns out they are. Turns out they're half brothers. You think about why he's so over the top, and you think about how the whole shit that went down with his dad and their two different moms... Mm-hmm. It makes sense for him to be over the top. He's basically rubbing it in his dad's face.
Right. Yeah, you know? Absolutely. Miracle child.
He's not the Baptist revival preacher, but he's pretty damn close to it. With the way Diamondback presented everything. The way,
okay.
With how
I thought you were talking about their dad.
No. I mean,
Mr. Lucas.
Right. No, I mean Diamondback himself.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, because we never see their dad give a sermon.
We never even see his dad's face.
Right. But you imagine you have the bastard son of this preacher.
Right.
Hates the legitimate son from the guy's marriage. Why wouldn't you go over the top with that? Especially when his mom's dying gift was to pass on the Bible.
Right.
Yeah. Why wouldn't that drive you to be so over the top and bombastic?
Yeah, that'd be pretty fucked.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I'd be able to handle that.
That just makes sense for why he's so freaking extravagant with everything.
Extravagant's a good word.
Yeah, never mind, obviously, the personal vendetta coming into play.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I grew up childhood friends. I thought that was awesome.
Oof, that just drives it home, yeah. And, like, Luke admitted that he never wanted to realize it. He never wanted to realize the truth. But you have to know that Diamondback knew the whole time.
Yeah.
And probably wondered why Luke was acting like he didn't know.
Because he legitimately didn't know.
But you think of it from Diamondback's perspective, and, like, you know, Luke knew as a kid, he just didn't admit it to himself. Yeah. So he kept pretending he didn't know in his own head subconsciously. But then you got, from Diamondback's perspective, he's got to be thinking, why the fuck is no one acknowledging this?
Right. I wasn't a Lucas, I was a striker.
A lifetime of repression.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
No wonder he put on the fucking super suit and tried to beat the shit out of Luke.
Yeah.
Which I gotta love that. That was so great.
That was definitely an interesting suit.
The two times that they actually wore suits was right from the comic.
Yeah.
Diamondback's super suit, and when Luke busts out of prison, they very briefly put him in a picture-perfect Power Man costume.
Yeah, when he still had hair.
Yep.
When he, had the tiara.
Yep.
Had the yellow shirt.
Yeah, even the bracers.
The bracers.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The yellow V all the way down to the sternum, down to the solar plexus, and the baggy blue pants.
Yeah.
Yep.
God, I look ridiculous.
Looked like a damn fool. Oh my god, just fucking spot on. And I don't need... Well, it was like in Jessica Jones, where they never put her in the jewel costume.
But they had it.
They had it. Trish had it there, ready to go. We're in the mid-2010s. We don't need our heroes in flashy costumes anymore. For some, it still works. For Iron Man, obviously. For Captain America, of course. Thor's not even on this planet anymore.
As far as Captain America's concerned, that's his uniform.
Right, exactly. But especially for the street-level heroes... Most of Daredevil, he spent in the original Daredevil getup of the black mask over his eyes.
Right.
And the black pants and shirt. He didn't put on the Red Devil suit until the end. And even then, it was for a practical reason.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That was season 1.
Yeah.
You haven't seen season 2.
I have not seen season 2. You may mock me now.
It's on record now.
Yeah. However, having now seen... this first season of Luke Cage, where they reference shit from season 2 of Daredevil, I'm like, undead ninjas invading a hospital? I could check that out.
Yeah. That was definitely an interesting plot point.
I like Claire. Claire's an awesome character.
Yeah, Claire Temple's awesome.
Yeah.
Night nurse.
Yeah. Just all the shit that she's been doing. And apparently she lost her job at the end of Daredevil Season 2. So now she's just taking it on herself to basically be the doctor to the heroes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, that's huge. That's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
And especially to these street-level guys that get hurt so much.
Right. I mean, even Luke got hurt. With unbreakable fucking skin, he still got injured because of the Judas bullets.
Yeah, the specially designed bullets.
Fucking Chitauri metal bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and, she hasn't had to patch up Jessica, but that's only a matter of time because Jessica's not indestructible. She's just strong.
She's just strong and she can heal kind of quickly. But that's not like abnormal for people with superpowers in this universe to not have a minor healing factor.
Well, actually, I was thinking about that. And you think about it, super strength by itself, you will kill yourself the minute you try to use your strength, unless you have to back it up invulnerability or some kind of regeneration. Examples being, you got the Thing for invulnerability. Superman has invulnerability. The Titans in Attack on Titan have regeneration.
Right.
So like fucking Titan form Eren Yeager punches the ground so hard that it literally takes off his arm at the elbow. He just, he heals. He regenerates it. Yeah.
I think it seems like Luke Cage has a bit of both regeneration and quote unquote invulnerability. Let's say near invulnerable.
Yeah. I mean, he is invulnerable for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
But it is,
Jesus Christ.
You just think about the physics of it, and you need to have something because just the sheer PSI of a super strong punch, you'll break that wall, but you'll also fuck up your hand.
I don't know about that. Assuming the force is mass times acceleration, right? You still need either dense matter or a lot of it to break through this wall, for example.
Right.
That won't necessarily break your hand, especially since, if assuming you have superhuman strength, you're not gonna blow out your wrist by writing a thank you note.
Right.
So
I was thinking
you have a point. It comes with it.
Right.
It seems
right. I mean, think about the parts of the show where Luke had to punch through a thicker wall. It took him multiple strikes before he made a hole versus a thinner one when he just puts his fist through it.
Right.
You think about a normal person. I can punch through a board and put my fist right through it. It might open the skin on my knuckles. Big whoop. That's what happens when you punch something.
Yeah.
I try to punch my way through, 6 boards. I might eventually get through it, but I'm probably going to fuck up my hand in the process.
Right.
So that was what I was thinking with the super strength. Yes, you can be strong enough to punch through concrete, but if the concrete is thick enough, it's still your force is only going to do so much before you then feel the effect of that.
Sure.
Unless you have the invulnerability to not shatter your wrist on every punch, or the regeneration, Titan style.
Or even instantaneous.
Or
impact generated, impact triggered regeneration, I guess.
I mean,
with momentum, with centrifugal force, you can kind of throw your torso into it, right?
Right.
And then that's why it's more practical to throw a hook than a straight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? at least with super strength, in my opinion.
Right. Well, straights are faster.
But they also hurt you a lot more if you fuck up.
Right.
The margin of error is tiny.
Yeah, exactly. And, you look at Luke punching his way through a giant, the prison wall. He's getting his whole body into it.
Yeah, right.
Even with his literally brand new super strength at that point.
Brand new super strength and invulnerability.
Which he didn't even know about yet.
Yeah, his skin, as Claire said, she looked at his tissue under a microscope, tried to separate it, it would just snap right back together.
Yeah, and that was his soft tissue. That was his fucking blood cells.
Yeah, and it is with his hard tissues, I imagine they just don't yield to very much of anything.
Right. His skin in particular, because Luke Cage's thing in the comics has not been invulnerability in the sense that Superman or the Thing have it. He's quoted as literally having unbreakable skin.
Yeah.
That's part of his superpower set, which basically lends itself to invulnerability. You know, even when punching shit, he's never gonna like punch something with so much super strength that it fucks up his bones, because you would assume his bones are also stronger.
Yeah.
But his skin being unbreakable is just gonna deflect the force away.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, but his organs can still get damaged.
Yeah, which we saw.
Interesting.
Yep,
yeah,
in his fight with Diamondback.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like,
yeah.
Soft tissue and skin and muscle tissue makes sense to make them stronger. Makes sense to have them, since they're all connected to the skin in some way.
Right.
Right? But their organs...
You can't strengthen your organs. They're not connected to your muscles.
No matter how much... It seems like no matter how... I'm not a physiologist or a doctor by any means.
We're also discussing fictional superpowers, so that just throws... As much as I love figuring out the physics like we're doing now, this shit just goes right out the window.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you hit your stomach hard enough, something's coming up.
Yeah, exactly. And that was great. That was interesting, because that fight at the end, what a fucking fight, by the way.
Yeah. That was a good old fashioned street brawl.
Yep. With some super strength thrown in for good fucking measure.
Yeah.
So at one point, he's like, he's coughing up a little bit of blood because he's taken so many shots to the body that he's got a little bit of internal damage. Yeah. Nothing that a normal person wouldn't be able to, proportionally, nothing that someone wouldn't be able to survive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you let your body recover, you'll be fine.
Sure.
But noticeable. Yeah, he's not invulnerable. An purely invulnerable character, by comic book theory, wouldn't even get the internal bleeding.
Right.
No matter how many hits to the body they took.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I agree there.
Yeah, Superman's never going to cough up blood.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah. Or who's a similarly invulnerable character?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, never going to happen. She is invulnerable.
Yeah.
Or if you're talking the DC one, Shazam.
Yeah.
Yeah, similarly invulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And we should mention Misty Knight, I think.
Yes, let's talk about her.
Misty Knight.
We'll get to Luke still, because we still haven't talked about Luke himself, narratively. Yeah, she was great. And while we're talking about her, let's talk about Scarf, too.
Yeah, Scarf. Oh, man. That guy.
Let's talk about him first, actually.
Yeah, okay.
I liked him a lot. The actor was just spot on for
Misty
him.
Knight's for reference, Misty Knight's partner.
Yep, trained her as well. Training officer. Yep.
And, it was, he taught her how to be a cop, so there's a lot of trust there.
And then it turns out he's dirty.
Mm-hmm.
When he's going to kill a witness, they set up the scene, and I'm watching him talking with this kid Chino and Chico. Thank you. Sorry, talking with Chico.
Get the goddamn names right.
There were a lot of them, and I'm doing very well for me.
No, you're not.
Shut up.
I'm holding you to an impossibly high standard, and you need to meet that standard.
This is not my superpower.
You invited me over.
You invited your own ass over. Mainly because you texted me and said something along the lines of, "Hey, let's do something. We need to do the thing."
Yeah,
we're doing the thing.
And
did the thing. Also, I'm the one without a roommate, so it's easier to have a podcast here.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
definitely makes sense.
Anyway, he was already well established as a character before it was revealed that he was dirty. Revealed in a very good way for the narrative. And then the actor just sold it throughout. The way he acted when he was on duty, quote unquote, versus doing shit behind the scenes, he carried himself differently.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see. Some real talent there. Do you have anything on him? Or?
No, I think you pretty much covered that.
Okay, so hit us with some info on Misty.
Oh, Misty Knight. the lead detective.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole throughout the series so far, and she's all the while she's just trying to get at Cottonmouth.
Mm-hmm.
All the while.
Yep.
And then Luke Cage comes on her radar, and things happen, and now her priorities shift.
And they have sex.
Shit, and they have sex. Yeah.
Hell yeah, they had sex.
Yeah. Yeah. He did.
He wasted no time.
Luke was not expecting to get laid that night, but he got laid that night.
She had to explain that coffee was a metaphor for dick. And you know what?
More like she had to say... Yeah, I mean, the whole conversation
he was like, I don't like coffee.
And she goes, me neither.
Ding! Light bulb. Yeah. Yeah, well played.
My place or yours. Boom!
There you go. Continue.
Yeah, and she's very. You can see that she's very driven, and she's very good at what she does.
Well, at one point they even mentioned the captain of her precinct even says like, you know, it was one of the inspectors from Internal Affairs.
Yeah.
One of the two of them, I forget who, was just like, you could have been downtown. Hell, with your talent, with your skills.
The psychologist said that. Yeah.
Oh, the psychologist. Okay,
yeah.
The psychologist. Yeah, after she started to have, she had a rough patch after one episode.
Yeah. That's one way to say it.
Yeah, you could say it.
This is just a brief summary. We're not like...
We're going to try to avoid giving you a complete play-by-play. We're not doing episode-by-episode reviews here.
God, no.
Yeah. So...
I'm not that, like, patient or...
I mean,
and my attention span is not that...
Maybe in the future we'll do stuff like that.
We'll talk about it. But...
Yeah. Well, yeah, so they were talking about how she could have gone on to be fed. But instead, you know...
Just higher than what she was,
right.
Which was a cop in Hell's Kitchen.
In Harlem.
Right.
And her immediate response was, I want to stay here. I can do good here.
Yeah, I know the ins and outs of this shit.
So she's driven, but she's not driven to hit as high as possible. She's driven to do as much as possible where she can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she can make a difference here. Probably more of a difference than she could being a Fed or a Marshal.
Or even down at police headquarters in New York.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That was, she's definitely interesting, and she definitely found, she didn't necessarily evolve, but as things started clicking more, she was able to read between the lines of all the other crimes that was going on very quickly. She was able to pick up the information like that. And then she goes, all right, well, my focus should still be on Cottonmouth.
Yeah. And then Diamondback and Mariah.
And Mariah.
I was going to say, like, she didn't change as a character because she didn't need to.
Yeah, she was already the way she was.
Right.
She's Harlem born and bred.
Yeah.
And it's very well documented and shown.
Yeah.
And Simone Missick, who portrays Misty Knight, did a fabulous job.
Yep.
I think.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
you know what? Let's just blanket statement. Every fucking member of this cast brought it home.
Okay, yeah. That'll save some time.
Even the side characters, even the local Harlemites on the street who were shucking wares and you know, running bodegas, rip DVDs and running bodegas. We'll get to the bodega in a second. Though, you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, even the folks who have like a 2-minute scene really sold it.
Yeah.
And much like the barbershop in the opening, it never felt cliched. It never felt pandering. It
never felt stereotypical.
Never felt stereotypical. Exactly. Even when they're showing everyone wearing hoodies to show solidarity for Luke, it never felt cliched. And on a weaker writing team, on a lesser studio, it would have been blaxploitation. But with this, it was...
Speaking of blaxploitation, Method Man.
No,
man, he was great. I
awesome.
Loved his bits, man. He
had a cameo, and he fucking brought it home.
Yeah. Well, I think it was more of it wasn't really a cameo. It was like...
Well, he had an appearance.
He had an appearance,
yeah.
Yes.
He made a guest appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Yo, you a double XL? Way ahead of you, homie.
It's like, oh, it's you! And Luke's like, no, man, it's you. Like, that was my jam. And and that's exactly right. It never felt like they were just taking advantage of black culture.
Yeah.
It always felt honest and respectful.
Yeah.
And for one of the better-known black superheroes in a black neighborhood dealing with black issues, which we are not qualified to talk about at all.
Not at all. We're just talking about the series.
We are two white boys from New England.
Well, I'm white. He's clear.
I'm opaque. Wait, is that the one?
No.
Shit, I fucked it up. God damn it.
Yeah, opaque you can't see.
God, I fucked it up. Well, that's technically true.
I'd say translucent.
There we go.
Not quite transparent, but
my attempts at my attempts at making interesting commentaries are apparently transparent. Don't take the mic. Don't take the mic.
I took the mic. I'm sorry.
All right. Back to the point. It was very respectful of the culture that it was
totally
discussing.
And Method Man's rap was fucking spot on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I gotta go,
download that?
Can we find that somewhere? Can that be downloaded?
Probably.
I feel like
I'm willing to bet if I go to YouTube right now.
I'm a total white boy. I'll fully admit that. But, yeah, that rap, man, that was really, really funny. That was really good. Well paced, well thought out. It flowed so well.
All of the musical performances, the live ones anyway, not the background music, that happened. There was Method Man, and then there was a bunch at the Harlem Paradise Club. Those are all established music groups.
Yeah.
Which
are they from around Harlem? I'd imagine they.
I imagine, yeah. I don't know. I didn't look all of them up, but I imagine a lot of them are. I fucking love. Yeah, Bulletproof Love, Method Man.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And it looks like it's even longer than the one that they had in the episode because this clip is 2 minutes long.
Okay. Well, we don't need to.
No, we're not going to play it. Yeah,
but oh man, just copyright and all that. But
it was great. The fact that he even mentioned because Marvel's DC comics have always existed in a fictional world altogether. Mm-hmm. Marvel comics have always basically existed with the presumption of this is our world, it just happens to have superheroes. So Method Man even mentioning things like Trayvon Martin, things like a lot of characters mentioning things like Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. It was great, and again, I can't get over how well they treated the culture. And again, looping back to something earlier with the character of Mariah. As much as she talked about honoring the culture, she never actually wanted to. She was never really part of it. Again, that character loved the ideal more than the truth.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah.
Just keep it rolling.
I'm trying to think. We should touch on Reva.
Okay.
Reva, at the very least.
Yeah.
That was that shook Luke's world up. And Reva's the former wife who was killed during the events of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Sometime before the events of the Jessica Jones series.
When Luke
by a mind-controlled Jessica Jones.
Right, and when Luke found out about that in Jessica Jones, that was what caused a split between them.
Yeah.
And then there was a very satisfying fight in that one between the two of them when Luke was mind-controlled. Sorry, I just love superpower throwdowns, man. I just fucking
it's
love
all
them.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, fucking love them.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, that was interesting. That was definitely interesting.
It really added a lot of depth to that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, to that, because we only got
more conflict as well.
Yeah.
Not just the obvious physical superpower beatdown.
Right.
Conflict.
Right.
But it also added some kind of emotional blockage that didn't exactly lend itself useful to Jessica's development and getting through her PTSD.
Yeah. It was almost awkward to have in Jessica Jones. If it wasn't for the fact that was what helped her get away from Kilgrave in the first place, and then have some conflict between her and a potential ally, which honestly was kind of just a way to get Luke out of that picture so that he could then go have his own series in some ways.
Right.
Because if that hadn't happened, then this show, instead of being about Luke Cage, it would have been about Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
Right. Yeah.
So, narratively, we needed to get Luke away from Jessica.
Right.
But yeah, aside from that, Reva's situation didn't really make any sense in Jessica Jones season 1.
Other than Luke Cage being the grieving
widower. Right. having it now, which now does Luke Cage take place about 5 months, 6 months after Jessica Jones?
Because I'd say 5 months if I had to guess.
I mean, because that's what he says for how long he's been working with Pops in the beginning.
Yeah. Worked there 5 months, but
yeah.
I'm not sure on the timeline precisely, but it's definitely in the near future.
Yeah.
From the Jessica Jones series.
It struck me as a little weird at first that Luke was so relaxed that he wasn't grieving anymore at the start of the series. But when you factor in the amount of time, that does make sense. And he is still grieving. It's just not as fresh. Because you see that all the time with, people who have lost people. But then actually seeing that footage later on and getting more information about what had happened.
I think he got closure in Jessica Jones. I think he got some form of it, but he didn't get total closure.
And now he does.
Now he does.
Yeah.
And now he got it by watching all the video files about Reva, who was a prison psychiatrist.
And it turns out did lie to him.
Yeah.
And
saw him as an experiment.
Right.
Really. And
maybe she was going to reveal more to him. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Could be a plot point for later.
Yeah.
Because the doctor who experimented on him still has all the files.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we can get more information. But it will always be third hand at that point for Luke.
Yeah, definitely. Well, he saw all he needed to see.
Yeah.
And frankly, after he got that kind of closure, he doesn't need anything else.
Right. And that was the main thing, that he got that final bit of closure so that he could move on. And that was also the final step of embracing his role as a hero in Harlem.
Right.
Because that had already been shaping up. But it was after that he came back, he saved Misty's life at the nightclub. And then the series pretty much wrapped up after that with the final fight.
Yeah.
It was just a great... Since we're on it, let's talk about Luke.
Yay.
Yeah. Only took us 50 minutes to get to it.
Fucking Mike Coulter. What a fucking manimal.
You can't see it, but I'm bowing right now to Mike fucking Coulter because holy shit.
Dude, I can't say enough good things about his performance. Not just as... Luke Cage, but how he portrayed all of the
range.
Not just the range, but just all the different shit that he was going through, and he really stayed as true to the character, but still making it his own. That is a very hard feat for actors to do, I believe.
Yeah.
Just to make any character their own while still being true to the source material in some way.
I have not seen someone in the Marvel projects embody a character so perfectly since fucking Robert Downey.
Since Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong.
There are two Robert Downeys. There's Robert Downey Sr. as well.
Okay, well, I'll talk about Jr., obviously, by the context.
Still.
Simmer down.
It's not just about the context. You need to be pretentious.
Okay.
Fucking, you need to be not pretentious. You need to be precise.
I am pretentious.
You need to be precise.
You know I'm pretentious.
SchwarzTKD is very pretentious and also very imprecise. He's not.
How imprecise is this?
He's flipping me off now for those of you who can't see because this is an audio podcast. And frankly, keep it up there. And frankly, he's flipping me off for longer than necessary, but really, I deserve it. Man, dude, put your fucking thumb.
You told me to put it back.
No. When you do this, put your thumb in there.
I like doing it this way.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any difference, man. It's like...
You know what? Does this make a difference? Does this make a difference?
Yeah, that's several, that's...
Double it up, huh?
Yeah, it's doubled up.
Double your fun, bitch.
For those of you, who can't see this, which is everybody, that we're both flipping each other off with both middle fingers.
See, again, context, they probably could have figured that out by the use of the word double.
Still, though.
Context.
Still, though.
Robert, if I'm talking Marvel films and I'm talking Robert Downey, it's pretty obvious which fucking Robert Downey I'm fucking talking about.
Say RDJ, man.
RDJ.
Say shorthand, dude.
Oh my god. I'll give you my shorthand upside your head.
Like in not Daredevil, like in Deadpool. Back team.
No. Oh, that's a whole... No.
I would love to talk about Deadpool on another podcast.
Yeah.
That's just my fucking favorite.
Oh my god, because that was a good movie.
Oh my god, and Ryan Reynolds. But anyway.
Taking it away from that before we get too far. So, as I was saying, Mike Coulter. I have not seen someone hit a
animal.
character so perfectly since RDJ. Don't get me wrong. The other actors are perfect for their roles as well.
Yeah.
But, like Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, all of them, they can do the character, but they don't own the character.
Well, this felt very honest, like you said at the beginning.
Yeah.
This portrayal is not only very honest, but he's also been, he's been at this for quite a while now. So I'd imagine being a professional, like a thespian, as one would say.
Don't get all pretentious. That's my job.
No, I'm not trying to be pretentious. I was trying to go for like a Winston Churchill. But I need a cigar.
I would call that pretentious.
I need a cigar and some brandy.
You can pretend.
Did he Yes, Winston drunk again? I see. Yeah, well, you're a fat bitch. Family Guy. But yes, but Mike Coulter's a pro.
Yeah.
Just like all the other actors, but this, for whatever reason, struck a chord. It hit home as far as honesty in a character.
I liked him as Luke Cage in the Jessica Jones season 1, but I don't know what he was doing differently. In this, it brought it home. It just hit it so perfectly.
Yeah. It's like that sweet spot on a baseball bat when you just swing, you hit the ball just that right place. Oh,
I wanted to make a joke about deliberately misunderstanding sports, like hit it into the end zone.
I know you know that term. I know you do.
Yes, I do. I'm not that bad.
Oh my god, I know you know. I
don't sports.
I need to fucking
educate me.
No, I need to get drunk.
I got some.
Yeah, I know you do.
I have some scotch.
I'm not gonna take your scotch, man.
All right.
Scotch.
I might have some.
Yeah.
But
shit, scotch.
It was great seeing him in this, and talking about the character now.
Yeah.
So I mentioned it a little bit already, but this, again, more than pretty much any of the other shows or movies, felt the most like a classic comic book hero origin story.
Without feeling too hammy.
Right. Again, Jessica Jones was all about how she doesn't want to be a hero, she just wants to do her thing. Daredevil didn't really hit that note in season 1 until the very end when he confronts Fisk.
Yeah.
Now that's fine, it did a great job at that point, but it didn't happen right away. Whereas Luke Cage built this narrative throughout the entire season 1, showing his slow but steady, reluctant rise into becoming a hero.
Right.
Part of it had to be personal for him, with both his history and also current events when Pop dies.
Right.
It hit all those classic beats without ever feeling hammy.
Yeah. It must be really hard. I think he definitely hit the point home because of how he lost people.
Yeah.
Of how he handled losing people. Luke Cage is nigh indestructible. You're basically not gonna hurt that guy unless you're really well connected, but with
using
some
special equipment,
special story horse shit.
Yeah. Well executed story horse shit, but story horse shit Deus Ex Machina nonetheless.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
What else are you gonna do with a Deus Ex Machina?
Oh, fucking Diamondback's fucking super suit was so great.
That was pretty funny.
It was so awesome.
I
laughed.
My god. Well, one thing I wanted to.
What are you, ghetto pimp?
What are you, Hall of Captain America?
No, because that wasn't what they called what Bobby called Diamondback when Diamondback showed up with the super suit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it feels honest. It feels honest in a lot of ways, but
right.
In this way, I felt like it hit home the way Luke Cage loses people.
Yeah.
And he loses people.
Yeah.
Reva, Pop.
You can't protect everybody.
You can't protect everyone, but also he can't die from something like that. And it must feel really. He must feel really vulnerable by not being vulnerable at all.
That's a good point.
So that's like everyone around him can get mowed down and he will still be standing.
Yeah.
To feel that kind of it's not being empty, it's being lonely, being definitely different, and being noticed as different eventually.
And he kept saying that he just wants to be normal.
Yeah.
He can't, and he had to accept that this is now his normal. And he gained that, he was able to get away from that loneliness when he accepted how people around him were welcoming him to Harlem. I'm thinking of the scene when the one guy opens fire on the barbershop and Pops dies. In that same scene, like Bobby ducks into the back to take cover.
Yeah.
Luke protects the kid, the high school kid who's sitting in the barber's seat. Just throws himself over the kid so the kid doesn't get killed. And you're thinking, you realize that he's probably thinking Pops will get down, but he just didn't get down fast enough. Yeah. Whereas this kid sitting in the chair is not going to have time to get out of the way.
Right.
But at the same time, he still had to make a choice. Like, he had to choose who to save, his friend or this defenseless kid. So how much has that got to be beating him up? Because he can take a bullet for anybody. Practically every other episode, he saves someone's life by standing in front of them.
He would make the best Secret Service agent of all time. Like, the best.
Not denying that.
I feel like if he was around when Kennedy was around, who knows?
Well, I mean, that's a different
that was situation. A different situation.
That's a sniper bullet, not someone opening fire with a semi-auto.
Still, though.
Yeah, still, though.
He would still... I feel like Luke Cage would still have been able to take that sniper bullet. He took a rocket.
Yeah.
Like, what else do you
Well, no, it's not an issue of taking the hit. It's an issue of blocking the hit in time.
That's very true.
You can see a rocket coming. You can't see a sniper bullet coming.
It's very true.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying he would have had a better chance.
Well, yeah. But I mean, you're absolutely right. You have someone who can't be hurt, and the villains even mention this. How do you hurt someone who can't be killed? You go after the people around him.
Yeah.
At one point, Mariah even suggested to Cottonmouth, it's like, and I'm quoting here, I'm going to use the N-word. I think it's okay since we're discussing the show.
Okay, since we're quoting the show, I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, she says something along the lines of, does a nigger need to breathe? Drown him.
Yeah.
Poison him. Just because someone's invulnerable doesn't mean they can't die. Now, granted, how do you drown a guy who's super strong? Good luck holding him down,
Good luck trying to maneuver him against his will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing I always like, is seeing the super strong characters and just shit that would send a normal person flying. Like when in the first episode, when the three guys try to fight him in the Chinese restaurant at Genghis Khan's, the guy punches him and breaks his own wrist, and Luke's face doesn't even move.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he only puts his arm up to block the baseball bat because it was probably going to annoy him more to take it to the head.
Yeah. And that would probably be the only thing it would do, is just piss him off.
Yeah, it might make him turn his head.
Just a smidge.
Yeah, because it's not that... That's the cool thing with super strength. Like, if you hit someone with super strength out of the blue with a car, they'll go flying. They have time to see it.
Unless they brace themselves, like you're about to say.
Exactly. If they see it coming and brace themselves, they're fine.
No, I think he might be stronger than Jessica Jones in that regard, because that car was not slow moving.
No, it was not.
No, and he just stood there and took the hit.
Yeah.
And he just turns around and goes, "Hey, you all right?"
Yeah. You good? Oh yeah, and then they show the camera slowly panning up, and literally the car's front end is so folded it's almost wrapped around him like a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the tree.
The engine was off to one side. It was so great.
Yeah.
I think the windshield was even broken because it had pushed so forward. Dude. Yeah.
Oh, the K-frame was
gone.
Was origami at that point. Oh, dog, that is fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
Oh, dude, and we could probably talk at length about this, even more so than we already have. Yeah. I think.
Well, what have we? We're at about an hour.
Yeah.
All right. Now we've talked about all the characters. We've talked about writing. We've talked about superpowers a little bit. Mm-hmm. How this ties into the other Marvel shit. Most importantly, we've talked about its treatment of the subject matter, because, again, a lesser studio would have fucked this sideways. I mean, the only way, I'm going to say it, the only way this could have been more appropriate for black culture, I feel, is if it fucking came out in February.
Oh, man. You needed to do that, didn't you?
I did.
I don't understand you.
Neither do I.
Oh, for God's sake.
No one understands me.
I want ice cream.
I mean, we could keep talking about this.
No, yeah, totally.
We've hit a lot of the salient points.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bottom line, go watch it.
How have you not already watched it, Internet?
If you haven't already watched it, I urge you to check it out.
Please.
I know there are lots of great Netflix shows. Stranger Things I still need to watch. Now I'm on record as saying I haven't seen one of the good shows.
I've never seen Battlestar Galactica, so apparently I've committed a mortal sin.
I haven't seen too much of it, and even the stuff I did see, I don't really remember because it was that long ago.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But for this one, and you don't have to watch the other Netflix Marvel shows. You don't have to watch Daredevil or Jessica Jones.
It ties into them nicely, but you don't have to watch them to get it.
They treat it in such a way that, much like the Marvel movies, they reference them as, this thing that happened as one sentence. They don't give exposition of, when Jessica Jones shot you with a shotgun because you were being mind controlled. They just go, when your rebound chick put a shotgun to your head.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so if you saw Jessica Jones, you know what they're talking about. If not, you have enough context to continue that point of the episode is.
If you see it as a reference, great. You can see it as a reference or just banter.
Exactly.
And that's a great thing about some of these series.
Very well written in that regard.
Very much so. Giving them the credit due, but definitely treating them as their own individual entities.
Again, more mainstream shows. To continue talking about Marvel, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. falls into exposition sometimes when they discuss the movies. It's unfortunate, and I blame ABC for that because of the writing team. Whereas you got Netflix, which is their own beast, and working with Marvel directly, so they have much more control.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So long story short, go fucking watch it.
Yeah, dog.
And then go watch other shit anyway.
Yeah, man. Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Go watch our shit, Slap Happy Chaps, on Facebook and YouTube.
Indeed. And Twitter.
And now on SoundCloud and wherever the hell else we post this podcast.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Internet, and we will see you on the slap side.
Is that a thing? Is that the thing?
I don't know. I'm just trying something.
Okay. I was going to say we'll see you next month. Because we're going to try for monthly with these.
We'll see you in the next podcast next month. No, wait. No, this has to be good. You know what? Let's work on that.
We'll work
Let's work on the outro.
We'll work on, and an intro.
We'll work on an intro and an outro.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next month. Watching, listening, and we will see you next month. And you will hear us next month. Let's just cover all the bases.
I'm going to turn this off before he hits me. Before he slaps me.
A wise decision.
Good night. 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 Good